A new initiative by Qualcomm promises to raise the bar on the wireless earbud experience. That is, if you have the right phone. Coming up on this episode of Techschanges. Hi, everyone. I'm Ross Rubin, Principal Analyst at Reticle Research, and my guest today is James Chapman. He's Vice President and General Manager of Voice and Music and Wearables. A few things happening in those spaces at Qualcomm. And James, a big announcement today. Qualcomm is announcing new technology that promises to make wireless audio as good as, if not better, than wired audio. And it's called Qualcomm Snapdragon Sound. Why don't you tell me a little bit about it?
Well, Qualcomm Snapdragon Sound, it's about delivering, as you said, the best audio experience. If you think about wired audio today, it can be a little bit glitchy. There's a kind of a dirty secret. You don't get the best audio. It's all quite compressed to get it up to the headphones. And many times, you'll notice if you play a game, many times the latency can be really quite poor. That's, in our view, in Qualcomm, not acceptable. Increasingly, when we talk to consumers, they also are saying, look, we really rely on these wireless devices. We want them to be as good as we possibly can. What are you going to do about it? And the answer is to think of the whole kind of phone earbud like a whole system. You can get so far if you concentrate on the earbud, you can get so far if you concentrate on the phone. You kind of lift up your thinking a bit, and in Qualcomm, we're able to do that. And you say, well, I want to follow the sound all the way through the phone, all the way over that wireless link, all the way through the earbud to your eardrum. What can I do? The answer is you can do a lot. You can really improve the quality. You can really improve the latency. You can really improve the robustness. And that is what we've done with Snapdragon Sound, kind of that end-to-end holistic view to give the consumer the best we think we can possibly give them.
Two interesting elements of that, I think. One is this idea of trying to overcome what you called the glitchiness. Sometimes there are drops in connectivity, and one of my pet peeves is you'll be watching a video or playing a game and some lag is introduced. It's like one of those old poorly dubbed movies from decades ago. So one way that you're getting around this, as you mentioned, is integrating, starting with the Snapdragon 888 processor and assume moving forward other processors. Could you give me a sense of how the phone and the earbuds work together to overcome some of those problems?
Yeah, latency is a really good example, actually, that lagginess you sometimes get. If you think about it, let's imagine kind of piggybacking on the audio and following it where it goes. It starts off in the phone, it comes in through some app, some game engine, and it has to wander its way through quite a lot of software stack. And this software is complicated. In any number of places, it could go and take a rest for a little bit and then carry on its journey. In all of this complicated software, you can really quite quickly start to build up latency. We've gone through and really optimized that. So, rather than audio being a thing that kind of happens as a corollary to everything else, it's something which is up front and center. We can get a lot of latency out that way. We then go into you mentioned the 888 Snapdragon processor, fantastic processor. There's also the connectivity chips, the fast connect chips we put alongside. They are also incredibly important. You can't deliver the audio into the chip that's about to send it over the air and have it kind of sit and hang around for a while. So in that chip, again, we've done a lot of optimization to make sure the audio gets prioritized and out onto the air interface. We're managing the coax with Wi-Fi very carefully so that you're not stalled and hanging around waiting. We've managed the radio very carefully. So we've even gone into the Bluetooth radio. We've added some features, some secret sauce, if you like, to make that work more efficiently and better than it would otherwise work. And then over the air, and you kind of do everything in reverse as you go back through the earbud, and all that software and the radio interface again optimized. And if you follow that audio on that journey, all the places, effectively everywhere in the device and the stack, all the places where it was kind of hanging around, not being prioritized, not being optimized, we've gone through and polished it all up. And at that point, you then get this really low latency, optimized end-to-end experience. And that's kind of how you need to behave if you're really going to get the best of the consumer.
Excellent. That's really helpful in understanding how you've overcome some of those challenges. When digital music, MP3s, first came on the scene, there was a lot of concern we're ruining our ears, where we're going to get used to, a generation is going to get used to this low quality audio. And here we are years later.
Mm.
And, according to Qualcomm's research, according to trends we're seeing in the marketplace, consumers really want high quality audio. And we're seeing
Yeah.
more of these streaming services come online now offering high resolution master quality audio, and Snapdragon Sound addresses that as well, right?
Absolutely. So it's really interesting. I think if you go back a little bit, why did we end up with low quality audio? I mean, we've been kind of putting up with really quite poor quality for quite a long time, and it's all because of the size of the music files. So we were very limited. It wasn't so much that people didn't want high quality audio, it was more they couldn't get it if they wanted it.
Mm.
And now where we are is things have moved on a lot in terms of the basic connectivity to the phone. So you've got 5G, you've got Wi-Fi 6. If you want to get high definition streams, you certainly can. There's no impediment for you getting that. And then the streaming services, they've also paid attention to the consumer. And as part of the launch we're doing of Snapdragon Sound, we've been very lucky to be involved with Amazon Music, and they have some fascinating insights into, as they've started to add HD streaming, the pull and the increased engagement from their consumers, again, doubles down and shows that high definition audio, proper quality audio is something that consumers react to and they really want. Now, why? You can hear it partly on a voice coding, hear it in music, but why? Because music without all the extra kind of frequency content can feel a little bit flat.
Mm.
If you ever do a side by side of kind of compressed audio versus high definition audio, the thing that you'll notice is a kind of an openness and a brightness and an immediacy and a kind of an intimacy to the sound that you just don't get with the compressed files. And once people hear that, they can be very, very hooked by it. Now, of course, the problem today is we can get all that to the phone. You then put on your wireless set of headphones. We have to compress it away again.
Mm.
So you can actually get it delivered up to your eardrum. And that, again, is the thing that Snapdragon Sound is trying to fix for us. It allows us to actually finally deliver that high quality audio all the way to your eardrum where it's appreciated.
One of the things I've noted looking at the ecosystem and partners that you work with is the really incredible variety. There's different designs, different price points. As you talk about this improvement in quality, I would think that has to be especially welcome news for some of the prestige audio brands you work with, like Bose and Bang Olufsen, Bowers and Wilkins. I mean, these are audio brands that just have a legacy in high quality audio. So how does this help them move their customer bases into this new era of wireless audio?
Well, you're right. We work with an incredible range of really, really impressive audio brands. And having worked with them for years, the thing that really impresses me about the brands we work with is their understanding about how to deliver great audio. Huge amount of effort goes into everything from the kind of driver choice, positioning, management of that into your ear canal, the overall there's the form and fit that they're trying to get right, but also the acoustics, that mechanical acoustics is absolutely critical to get a really good sound. You talk to any of these companies, they really, really understand how to deliver absolutely fantastic audio. The reason that Snapdragon Sound is critical for companies like that is we're now enabling them to get the proper high definition stream into the device to really show off the acoustics, their expertise to the very best. At the moment, they're to some extent building a Rolls Royce or an Aston Martin, but they're not putting the right juice in the tank when it comes to driving, because they're getting this really compressed stream coming in, taking that cap off, enabling them to get the full high definition audio streams to work with. I think is going to allow those companies to shine in terms of their own expertise in the market.
In terms of another technology that Qualcomm's been very active in, noise canceling, I think it's a feature that a lot of us have really come to appreciate during some of these lockdown periods. And now, hopefully, as more of us can return to a more mobile lifestyle, start resuming travel again, it's something that more customers, more consumers are going to appreciate as they go about more of their normal travel routine. So, to what extent are a lot of these partners looking to provide something new, something exciting to consumers as they embark again on this mobile lifestyle? In terms of the timing, is this something that you think is going to really help in terms of the product cycle and sort of where we are in terms of the economy coming back?
So what we've seen, I think, is a few trends. Firstly, very, very strong buy-in from consumers for wireless audio devices,
Hmm,
and in particular the true wireless devices.
sure.
They are using them. I mean, if you asked 4 or 5 years ago, it was a kind of, I wouldn't say it was a gimmick, but it was a, hey, look at these. There's no wires. Isn't that great?
Look, Ma, no wires. Yeah.
Exactly, and that was kind of enough. Absolutely not where we are today. People are using these things, unfortunately, because of the circumstance many people find themselves in with the pandemic. They're using them a lot, like several hours a day, in anger, and they're realizing both how good they are, because they are remarkable devices, but also some of the issues we talked about, like the robustness, the latency, so some of the audio quality that we're fixing with Snapdragon Sound. Now, the the appetite of consumers at the moment for wireless audio is really fueling a lot of excitement within Qualcomm, within the industry. We're seeing a lot more kind of processing coming into these devices. We're seeing these devices at much lower power. And we're seeing a lot of inventiveness around, as you mentioned, things like ANC. So to take that technology, it used to be, if I'm lucky enough to study for my private pilot's license, then I'll use my professional noise cancelling so I can hear my instructor not to crash the plane. And then, oh, maybe the guys at the back of the plane might like it. That's where it was.
Hmm.
Now people have realised that if I want my best quality audio, not only do I have to have the high definition audio coming into my earbud, but I better not have the noise of all the other stuff coming in alongside it. So suddenly that ANC, that ability to manage what you hear and what you don't hear from your environment becomes critical. It's about blocking out sounds when you really don't want to hear them. It's about letting in sounds when you do, like, for example, only letting certain sounds through. You can imagine starting to allow certain speech through if you're in a difficult environment like a restaurant, when we're all allowed back in restaurants and you find it's a very, very muddled audio environment. We can start to do things to pick up and enhance and help you hear what you want to hear in that environment. It's all about curating the whole audio experience for consumers. So wherever they are, whatever they're trying to do, they get the absolute best audio experience, and it's completely unencumbered by all the stuff going on around them, unless they actually want to hear it, in which case we can let it through. It becomes a very adaptive, very kind of fluid environment at that point. And the ANC we're very proud of in Qualcomm, that features as a big part of kind of managing that.
Let's move a little bit beyond the traditional audio applications to have you put on another hat or another part of your hat, maybe. We hear Qualcomm talk about sometimes this idea that we're moving into a phase where there's going to be this real symbiotic relationship among the handset, the earbud, and some kind of wearable smartwatch, or down the road some kind of smart glasses. So would love to hear your take on that. Another improvement I know that this brings is improved battery life, and that seems to be one of the prerequisites that you're going to need in order for these things to become less session driven and more lifestyle driven.
Absolutely. So I think what a consumer really wants, or maybe make it personal, what I really want is I want my services wherever I am without having to worry about which device I'm using. I want it to be seamless. Now, I'm not expecting to watch a 4K movie on a watch. That would be kind of ludicrous. I might get it on a wearable someday, and in terms of my smart glasses, but not on a watch. But there
Mm,
are quite a lot of services that can be delivered to me very nicely over, for example, an audio interface. So, if I think about my music service, obviously, voice calls, obviously, voice assistants, you can get quite a lot of information now with a back and forth with a voice assistant. I can do with voice recognition, short texts, maybe even emails backwards and forwards. I mean, at some point it becomes I'd rather reach for my phone. But
Mhm.
then there is every reason to have quite a lot of these services delivered to you from a different device other than a phone, from perhaps a wearable device like a smartwatch. Now, the nice thing about audio is it doesn't take as much power to ship around as video. So the watch comes with a smaller battery. Maybe you don't have to have so much data rate over the modem link to the cell tower. It's actually, audio delivered services a perfect fit for a smartwatch. And you then start to find that perhaps, you have your phone because you want the screen. So I watch my kids; they're addicted to moving images, as far as I can tell. And I wouldn't want necessarily to be without reach of my phone. But I don't necessarily want it all the time. So if I leave it on my kitchen table and wander off to the shops for half an hour, or maybe I go on a run, I don't necessarily want my phone with me. And I think that smart wearable, maybe with the smart glass at some point, becomes the modem you attach to your wrist every morning, so you're connected, and it becomes that kind of link to all these services you can get over audio with the great earbuds working well with the watch. You start to find it's not unreasonable to find that I would perhaps start my playlist on the phone. I go out for a run, it follows me onto my watch, my earbuds transfer naturally, and I just keep going. So you can imagine that scenario coming. Now, with that in mind, when we think about things like Snapdragon Sound, we're not just thinking buds and phone, although that's obviously the first place it turns up. We
Mhm.
are thinking that the optimizations and the kind of technology we're putting in to support this ecosystem, that is something that has every reason to be in something like a smartwatch, and also at some point things like laptops, maybe even things like the car. So it's a holistic approach to audio and all the audio delivered services. It's very exciting, very, very exciting to see audio coming back front and center, I think.
Certainly an ideal place to start in the phone, particularly when over the past couple of years, we've seen this steady rise in phone screen
Yeah.
size as people seek to have a richer
Mhm.
media experiences on the device. But, as you note, sometimes you're going to want to go for a lighter weight solution. And the key is really to do that kind of smart integration and handoff.
Absolutely right.
All right. Well, I think that's about all the time we have for today. James, I want to thank you so much for being my guest today. A pretty exciting future that's being pioneered by Qualcomm Snapdragon Sound. Thanks so
Thank
much.
you very much, Ross. Thank you. Appreciate it.
And thank all of you for joining us today. If you'd like to keep up with me on Twitter, you can find me at Ross Rubin. Please visit my company's website at reticleresearch.com. And please check out Techspansive, where Sean Dubervac and I analyze the week's tech events. Once again, I'm Ross Rubin, and this has been Techschanges.